this meeting, workshop meeting, the Susquehanna Township Board of Commissioners, July 24th, 2025. I would note that all commissioners are here with the exception of the two Freds, Filona and Engel, who are excused. We did meet in executive session to discuss matters of personnel and real estate. And we will now begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I would ask that Commissioner Cross lead us tonight.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everybody. We'll begin with petitions, complaints, and suggestions from citizens. Does anybody wish to address the board tonight? Yes, sir. You come forward to the microphone, state your name and address, and keep your comments to 3 minutes if you can.
Okay. There's an agenda item on here, and I don't know if now's the time, best time, or later to do it.
Now's a good time.
Now's good. Okay. My name's Willie Harmon. Address is 2010 Wayne Avenue. I speak on behalf of my mother, Ethelene, who's the property owner there. As I said, the address is 2010 Wayne Avenue, which is directly across from the address 1901 Wayne Avenue, which was the former location of Harrisburg Middle School. Susquehanna Township School District, January made the purchase at that property. And for all initial purposes, their intent is to nestle the property against Wayne Avenue. And though they're using, I think it's 1966, they have it listed as Stanley Drive, it's almost a quarter of a mile away from Stanley Drive. My concern is the tranquility of the neighborhood, and keeping it tranquil and saying, put the school down on Stanley Drive if you're going to use Stanley Drive as the address. And that's what I'd really like the board to consider with any of their proposals, amendments, or changes that they want to make, as well as the fact that it's a 42-acre field. And if we built a 42-acre school or even a 40-acre school, that's a little bit of overkill. So we've got I'm figuring it like this, put it down a bit. We've got 22 acres that we should dedicate to untouched green space. And what that means is I can submit pictures, videos of some of the wildlife that's there. I know it because I feed it. That, you know, we don't need to necessarily disturb them and still build the school here. I'm not against the school. I'm just, you know, against the disruption of my tranquility. I like the fact that, like most of us in Susquehanna Township, past a certain hour, it becomes completely quiet. And I want to ensure that property that my parents bought in the early 70s remains a nice, tranquil neighborhood, since they've gotten rid of the accidental thing that they did last time with approving a school to come on near their house. Yep. That's all. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Anybody else wish to address the board tonight? I see you at the last night's meeting over at the, Linda Move. Thanks for coming. Okay, if there's nobody else, we'll move on to approval of minutes from our June 26, 2025 regular meeting.
Mr. President, I believe it's the July 10th regular meeting minutes that we're approving. There was a typo on the agenda that I just noticed. But I will move for the approval of the July 10th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, thanks for that correction. Moved in second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Recognitions, presentations. public hearings. Traffic studies. Do we have any traffic studies to discuss? Members of the Board of Commissioners or Chief, do we have anything?
Yes, sir.
All right, hearing none. Move on to ordinances, resolutions, and contracts. First up is the Susquehanna Township Municipal Solid Waste Contract, and I will turn to Manager Everly.
Thank you, Mr. President. After 10 years, the township had put out an RFP for the municipal solid waste hauler. We started working on this, believe it or not, back in February. We had a team that started vetting the conditions that we wanted in the trash bid. We advertised it May 29th, and happy to report we had 3 bidders that actually came to the table and were interested in our business. That was Penn Waste, Republic Service, and Waste Management. And happy to report that Penn Waste was the lowest bidder. For the length of the 5-year contract, they provided us with a bid that introduced substantial savings. So really appreciate, I see Aaron and Andrea are here today. Thank you. Been a good part of our team and a good part of our team going forward. So with that said, when you have a bid like this, we are obligated to accept the lowest bidder. And from this point, we'll start working in consult with our solicitor to put together the actual agreement and the document for that. So we'll get busy on that. We hope to have that done, wrapped up by the beginning of September. That's our hope. And I think that's all I needed to report for now. Thank you.
Okay.
But very happy. I think we're, as a township, we'll be very excited about the results as we work through them. We'll provide more information.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the
President, I'll
proposal
make a-
pending the successful negotiation of the contract with the apparent low bidder managed by Manager Eberly and Solicitor Miller?
I'll just make a motion.
That one?
With the words you just said, because that's the words I was going to use.
All right.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Commissioner Cross. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And thank you and your
Thank you.
hard work on
Thank you very
this.
much. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
All of us. Thank you.
Boyd Park, pond management.
Thank you, Board. Before you is a proposal from Aquatic Environment Consultants. We've been working with them since the inception of the township acquiring that property in 2018, I believe. Maybe earlier than that. This is a practice of what we've been doing in the pond. We treat it from May through September to combat the growth of blue-green algae, which is a toxic algae that could grow in the water due to its stagnant nature. American lotus, which are the big lily pad type plants, and various silk grasses and stuff. And if we would let that go, that would take over the entirety of the pond. We've been utilizing this company, like I said, since the inception. Typically this time of year, when we're going to the budget, we get the proposal for the upcoming year. It's typically a year-to-year practice just because of the nature of the chemicals. Fortunately, the quote this year is the same as this year's at $2,930. And we're requesting the board authorize the proposal for $2,930 for next year, and we'll get it in the budget, and we can get this signed off and lock our pricing in for any changes in 2026.
Okay.
Mr. President, I would move that we approve the agreement as described.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Commissioner Knapp. Comments or questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Public access for fishing, that's only from the shore, right? There's no dock there, is there?
No,
There's no kayaking, there's no permit for that?
There's no kayaking permitted. It's only shore fishing. There's
Yeah,
no-
it's
no
catch and
water.
release, right?
It is catch and release, correct.
Have we set up any areas for fishing, or just where people can find their way down?
No, there's a couple open spots
Yeah.
throughout, and through the years, there's various pathways that have formed from deer and from people that they can get to other points.
Yeah.
Not just the big open areas.
Sure.
So they pretty much fish around the entirety of the pond for the most part.
Okay, so we're not encouraging or allowing people to get into the pond.
Right.
This is just from the shore.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that a designated trout water? Just out of curiosity.
What?
I might be out of order, but I was wondering, is that a designated trout waters also?
No, it's bluegill and bass.
Okay. I'm a fisherman, so.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Referral Planning Commission, this draft zoning map amendment for 1699 Stanley Drive. Mr. Breach, front and center, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, board members. Provided with the agenda is a copy of the draft zoning map amendment submitted by Susquehanna Township School District. The purpose of this amendment is to rezone 1699 Stanley Drive, which was formerly 1901 Wayne Avenue, and 5 other parcels in the Edgemont neighborhood, either partially or in their entirety, from the Conservation Zoning District to the R2 Medium Density Residential Zoning District, to facilitate the development of an elementary school at the property. Essentially, 1699 Stanley Drive is located in the Conservation Zoning District, where schools are not permitted by right. It is adjacent to the R2 zoning district, where schools are permitted by right. So this map amendment would essentially bring the R2 boundary over to this property, which would allow a school to be developed there by right. In addition to the Stanley Drive property being rezoned, it's also necessary to partially or fully rezone 5 other properties in the Edgemont neighborhood that are also located within the conservation zoning district. Rezoning those properties would bring them into compliance with in conformance with the rest of the Edgemont neighborhood, as all of Edgemont is currently zoned R2. And tonight we're asking the board to refer this amendment to the Township and Dauphin County Planning Commissions for further review and analysis. And I would just like to note that this is the first step in a long process. This is just getting the zoning in order. If and when a school is developed there, there are multiple township and third-party approvals that would need to be acquired by the school district at that time. I'm happy to take any questions. I believe Dr. Willis from the school district is here as well. But thank you.
Okay. Well, let's kick it off by getting a motion on the board. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'd like to move to refer this to the Planning Commission and Dauphin County Planning Commission as well.
All right. Moved by Commissioner Rothrock. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Napper. Discussion.
I have a couple questions, and it's going to be more directed to the school district officials that are here. First, I saw in the materials, there was a May 27th meeting you had with folks in Edgemont, et cetera. What I'm going to ask is if in the future, if you have meetings involving, and I'm sure the other commissioners would feel the same way if it was in their ward, that I only learned about it a couple of days ago. I would have loved to have attended that meeting to be always on top of what's going on and hearing directly from the residents. I no knowledge of that beforehand, so I wanted to flag that tonight because there may be other meetings, not only with that smaller group, but other residents of Edgemont because of the school going in, and I definitely would want to be involved. In fact, when I ran as a commissioner in 2021, probably my number one issue was Wayne Avenue and the compost facility, and it was very important to me from the get-go. So, and the second thing, the gentleman earlier was talking about with Wayne Avenue, and when I visited that property, I've always come on Wayne Avenue, but I think I asked this question once before, but I want to ask it again, because it's a really large property. I think it's at least, 27 acres or?
42.
42, okay. I heard 40, some reason 27 was sticking in my mind. But that the school itself is not going to, the access, et cetera, is not going to be anything at all through Edgemont. It's going to be on the other side, like Arsenal or Her Street or whatever. It's on the other side of, the property and not through Edgemont, was my recollection.
So you're
Just for
saying the
clarification.
physical location of the building, of the site itself?
Well, both the and the buses and whatnot going in and out, the roads to get into and out of to just clarify that, I would like to hear.
Sure. So the physical site itself, and at the next meeting, if this goes through, we'll be here with the architect to show you the actual layout. The building is in the same location that the previous middle school was. So the buses will actually enter off of Arsenal Road and come up through Stanley Drive. The school will sit farther back.
Okay.
So, yes, all traffic will come off of Stanley.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? And we'll invite you to our next conversation.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, I, if it involves third word, I try to make it.
Refreshments.
Anything else?
Yeah, I had the same question where the access was going to come.
Yes.
Access is coming on Stanley. For the benefit of public knowledge, I have a question about the deed restriction that's on that property. And maybe describe that a little more so people understand that even though the consideration is to go to an R2 residential, there are restrictions that would probably prohibit that type of development, right?
There are restrictions. The property may only be used for educational purposes. So we cannot bring a strip mall in there. You can't put housing development in there. Even though it is going to be zoned residential, the deed restricts it for educational use only.
Yes,
Okay,
because there's
I
a
just wanted
covenant.
that point to be made
Yes,
for everyone's
yes.
benefit.
Yeah, because there's a covenant, I think it was with General Services that provided for that restriction. Is that not correct?
Back in 1973.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Good question. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
We all good? All right. There's no other comments. We have a motion on the floor for the planning commissions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mac.
Thank you, Dr. Willis, for helping out with that.
Yes.
There's a school board over there. I'll be in quiet tonight.
For now.
For now. All right, next up is field seeder, I think. Yeah, field seeder, Mr. Knaus.
Thank you again. So, in our process of preparing for next year, and going into more pesticide and herbicide, applications on our own, we came across, some other equipment that would be beneficial. And one is a seeder for our athletic fields. Currently, when we go to restore our fields at the end of the season, we use a broadcast seeder. So it really, the only grass seed that's getting into the ground is falling into whatever we aerate. And the success rate is a lot less because you got birds, and then the seed will die if it's not germinating, and so forth. And quick education for seed to germinate. So grass seed's a diamond shape. 3 sides have to be covered. So if you
What was
want
that?
3 sides of a seed has to be covered in soil or whatever, or it won't germinate. So and it is not practice, at least I don't try to practice proposing something that we hadn't budgeted for, but coming across this piece of equipment at the cost it is, $7,356, and utilizing the equipment, the tractor that we already have, and utilizing it more, I felt that it's well within our current budget that we're operating within. It won't affect where we are at the end of the year in terms of our operations. We won't go over budget at all by doing this. I've put forward the recommendation that we move forward. Purchase the seeder, we'll have it in before the fall. So as we get into the fall seeding and fall prep and repairs to the seed fields, we'll have it in place. We'll have it already trained. Our guys will be able to go out and get the seed in the ground. And I think our our success rate that we're currently experiencing will increase dramatically by being able to get this grass into the ground as we go into the winter. So it germinates, grows in the ground while we're through winter, and then it will pop in the spring.
Yep.
Any questions?
So this will be used by our public works.
Yeah, everyone can use it. We'll have it within our department. Public Works could use it for pump stations and so forth, because I know they have some seeding work on some restoration areas, so they could easily use it there. And even doing areas that would be disturbed from snow plowing and stuff like that, if it's large enough and it would make sense pulling a piece of equipment out like that, it would be available to everyone. Very good.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of this ground feeder.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug. Next up is a request for a public hearing for the, consider changes to the Susquehanna Township Police Pension Plan to amend the COLA adjustments. Manager Eberly.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Please.
Yep. During our recent pension audit, it was determined that our police pension plan needed to be updated with the correct documents. So this ordinance simply proposes and serves to do just that, is to put our plan in the correct place where it needs to be. So the public hearing would be on August 14th for this proposed ordinance.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
By Commissioner Sanderson, seconded by Commissioner Cross. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the progress fire draft project schedule. You want to take that, Manager Eberly?
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe Greg Rogowski is with us via Zoom, who is leading the project in terms of visiting the Progress Fire Station construction. So he's here and he can go over what we're proposing for the work for Low Bar to do a cost estimating proposal. Greg?
Good evening, members of the board. Can everybody hear me?
Yep, you sound good.
Excellent. Members of the board, this evening we're asking your approval for what we're calling a rough order of magnitude estimate to be performed by Low Bar CM Services. As you may be aware, when we started this process, we've been evaluating 3 different options, which I have some sketches I'd like to show you this evening as well. Option 1 is related to essentially the rehabilitation of the existing station and its current footprint. Option 2 involves the rehabilitation of the station plus an addition. And option 3 involves the construction of a brand new fire station. We currently have some comparable data from an adjacent municipality that we can utilize for rough order of magnitude cost estimating for option 3, which is the new firehouse. But we don't have that for options 1 and 2, which involves the rehabilitation of the existing station. So what we're asking this evening is the approval of the low proposal in the amount of $46,058 to be able to facilitate rough order of magnitude estimating for those first 2 options. We are at a point that, we have established the program, what we need and want in terms of the overall project. We have sketches that I'll share with you here momentarily. And we, need to get to a point that we put some dollar figures to those to be able to make some decisions about which options to potentially move forward on. The overall plan is to have a meeting with the board, most likely in the November timeframe, to discuss all the options and some other overreaching issues with that, probably in a workshop type session in that late November, early November, somewhere in that time frame to facilitate kind of moving the project forward. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can everybody see that?
Well, not right now, Greg. There you go. You got it.
Okay. So option one, as I mentioned, this is the white outline is essentially the existing firehouse. The only real addition in this particular scenario is the addition of an elevator, which is a code requirement. We would proceed to, for all intents and purposes, gut the entire fire station down to, bare studs, re-insulate, as well as install new mechanicals, et cetera. Put bunk rooms behind the, what would be currently the bingo hall or the community room, as well as offices in the basement. This particular option obviously will be the lowest cost option. However, it does contain a number of deficiencies in terms of program. So this is one of the options we're specifically requesting that this rough order of magnitude pricing be applied to. In addition to those items, the apparatus bay, while not getting much larger than it currently is, the roof would be elevated. The apparatus bay currently is very, very short, and therefore we would be able to elevate that roof and pop it up, if you will. Option two is a little bit more radical, and before everybody cringes when I show it, we are still working through a couple of different options here, but option two suggests, at least in the current form, that we would put an addition on across Maple Street. That would require that the right-of-way at Maple Street be vacated. It's really the only feasible scenario we've found so far to provide a drive-through type scenario with a apparatus bay. This obviously has its flaws in terms of impact to the community and some other things, but we believe that from a square footage perspective, it gets closer to the desired need of what the program drives. There would be a lot of other things to go through with this, so I don't want to panic anybody right now, but that is the option number two that we're looking to at least get this rough order of magnitude pricing for. Option three, as previously indicated, would be the construction of a brand new fire station, would essentially front on Redwood Street. Apparatus would be able to drive through, pull through bays, and this does, currently meet the requirements of the program. We met just yesterday related to these three options. We're currently going through an exercise to refine them, but in that same time frame, we'd like to get some numbers to be able to throw towards those options one and two to be able to facilitate some real conversations about costing and things of that nature. So I would be happy to answer any questions. Certainly, the intent is to provide a more in-depth discussion of this topic in general come this workshop meeting we're proposing. And for now, we're just looking to be able to get some of that rough order of magnitude costing done.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
Greg, just for edification, in November, December, the commission only meets once each month, the second week of the month. So just to keep that in mind, we don't have the two meetings per month, and you're talking about the end of the year. So just for logistical purposes, you'd be looking at the second week of November or the second week of December, just to keep that in mind.
Understood. We actually, the concept would be that we would have a dedicated workshop at Station 32 as a separate meeting, and kind of target that time frame specifically because the board only has one meeting in those time periods. So more to come on that. We need to, obviously work through some scheduling and things in terms of a formal request, but that's the at least idea as we approach, kind of the end of the project.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Greg, going back to your first image, apologize. Looking at the screen, it looks great, but just some details there. I'm not quite sure, so I apologize for the question. Are you recommending to keep the community room, just renovate it, but keep the community room? Or are you proposing to use it for some other purpose and remove the community room entirely?
Yes. Both options, 1 and 2, propose the complete removal of the community room. That space, as well as the currently basement below it, would be repurposed for operational needs for the fire station.
So that adds quite a, okay, that's a lot more usable, like functional space. It's like
Correct.
almost like a third more, maybe almost a half.
It does. The challenges we face specifically, and I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, are that, some of the current codes with respect to storage of fire gear and other things, just demand more space. So we are able to utilize that space efficiently in those two layouts, for the administrative and sleeping areas. That's kind of where we're at this point.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anybody else have any questions of Greg? All right, is there a motion to authorize the establishment of costs by low bar, and the cost of low bar not to exceed $4,658?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved in second. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. All right, thanks, Greg.
Thank you, members of the board. Have a good evening.
You too. Back to vacation. Next up is item number 7, Resolution 2025 R09 of Susquehanna Township authorizing the manager and solicitor to negotiate and execute a 1-year extension of a vendor agreement with Cellbrite.
Mr. President, this resolution authorizes the manager and the solicitor to formalize an agreement with a vendor called Cellbrite, which provides certain tools to the police department that allows them to download data from a phone. We've received a quote of $37,561.60. I've confirmed that that quote is still accurate for a 1-year extension. I've been told by Carolyn Scammell from Cellbrite that hardware has already been delivered to the police department, and that they are, in fact, they have, that the service is available right now. And so as a result, I've looked at the terms and conditions, I've looked at the vendor agreement, and I recommend its approval.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Sanderson. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Rothrock. Comments or questions? All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next up is the consent agenda. And there's one item on it, and that's to ratify the appointment of Laura Miller to Accounts Receivable Specialist as of 7/14/25. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me. Old business? Do we have any? Hearing none, new business. And the only item on here right now is the paving project, 25 to 27 projects presentation by Mr. Greenwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Commissioners. So I was asked to provide an update on the 2025 through 2027 paving projects. Doug's going to give me my presentation. Correct. So certainly beginning with the 2025, and you can go to the next one. As you're aware, this project has been awarded, it was previously bid this year. Streets include Locust Street, which we are considering swapping out for Russell Drive. Apparently there's some previously unknown sewer work that might have to take place on Locust Street. So we are considering doing Russell Drive, bringing that up to base to grade, which means it would be base paving up to existing grade. Knowing that we have a potential land development project going in directly adjacent to the 55-plus community that was just constructed by Triple Crown. So we're awaiting costs on that from the contractor, but that is a possibility that Locust Street gets swapped out for Russell Drive. Additionally, we have Nottingham Way, Penrose Street, Schoolhouse Lane, Sylvan Place, and Wood Street. These are all going to get mill and overlay with pretty substantial ADA improvements through that neighborhood, which I think will be certainly a benefit as that neighborhood is lacking basically any ADA compliant pedestrian movement through the site or through that neighborhood. Again, if you recall, this kind of co-aligns with an authority project where they're doing some stormwater upgrades through the entire locality of that area. So the idea was we make substantial improvements to that entire two neighborhoods essentially, and make it a nice project in the end. So again, that contract was awarded to Construction Master Services for $583,822.55. Since then, we've had a pre-construction meeting. Notice to proceed has been issued, and construction is anticipated to begin in August. We did ask that the contractor set Wood Street to be a priority, to be paved first, knowing that it's going to be into likely the school bus season. And that street is certainly the most heavily used by school buses, I believe, compared to the others involved in this project. So we are anticipating substantial completion in September. Again, we're doing a lot of ADA ramps and such through the neighborhood, so they take much more time than simply paving. So the construction process for the ADAs are much more lengthy than just paving.
Excuse me, Alex.
Sure.
Question I'm sure I'll receive is, will the project install curb cuts where there are no sidewalks? Because the vast majority of this neighborhood, at least half, maybe 60%, doesn't have sidewalks.
So working with Nate when he was Public Works Director, there are a few locations that that we are doing that type of thing where there are no sidewalks existing, but we're creating, I think specifically Wood Street and Schoolhouse.
Right.
Yep, so we'll be doing that. Not every curb intersection where there's no sidewalk is getting ADA ramps, but there are some. Yep.
And that's because of federal requirements?
Correct. So if you're improving a street where there's sidewalks, you need to add the ADA compliant curb ramps to use liquid fuels funding. Yeah, so where there's no existing sidewalks, you're not obligated. But in that, certainly the future build out of the authorities project, I believe, is going to install more sidewalk south on Wood Street going up towards the middle school. So we wanted to incorporate some ramps there and then hopefully bolster that pedestrian movement through that area. If you could go to 2026. So 2026, we had previously identified as a microsurfacing project for the neighborhood involving the streets listed here. It's so, you know, nice list of roads there with Ionoff Road. So Ionoff's kind of the outlier, and we identified that as a potential alternate prior to putting this presentation together. If you want to go to the Ionoff one, Doug. Yeah. We came up with budgetary cost figures last year. We did some more in-depth field investigation and tightened up those cost estimates, and kind of concluded that Ionoff is a good potential for an alternate project to include with the other neighborhood roads listed previously. And just a quick, if you would, next one. Yep. Those not familiar with microsurfacing, it's basically like a 3/8 to 1/2 inch coating of asphalt and aggregate that extends the life of roads prior to them deteriorating to the point where they need to be reconstructed. So it's a cost benefit to, again, catch these roads before they deteriorate to a level of needing reconstruction. So these roads that were identified previously fit that criteria. And then doing a smaller project such as microsurfacing allows the liquid fuels bank to kind of reestablish itself due to, it's been drawn down pretty good through the prior years because we did larger paving projects that hit that fund pretty drastically. So the goal is to do a less expensive project this year, but still cover a nice chunk of road. So that said, if you want to go to the next one here, kind of have a little bit of a decision maybe to make in that some of the roads that Nate identified as wanting to do microsurfacing on, when we went out and did the updated costs and field investigation 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, kind of noticed that some of these roads might not even need that. So I think we have the option to do either full microsurfacing of that entire neighborhood, and listed are the benefits of that and the downfalls. Obviously, it comes at a greater cost, but you get seamless road surface, you get uniform drivability, and then you obviously expand the life of the roads throughout the neighborhood. Or we could do partial microsurfacing and crack sealing on the roads that don't necessarily warrant microsurfacing, and obviously that's less expensive. However, you're going to get varying rideability through the street, through the neighborhood, visual difference, and then differing ages of deterioration. So the ones that aren't treated will likely deteriorate a little bit faster than the ones that have been or that will be treated. But all in all, the neighborhood would be in good shape paving wise. So I think our recommendation would likely be to do the partial, only hit the streets that really need it, and then do the crack sealing on the streets that don't. And then again, that actually allows eyeing off to be a good candidate because it's a larger road. We're saving some money on the other neighborhood. Yeah, potentially add eyeing off as an alternate, and then again, there'd be some ADA improvements there as well. Eyeing off is a pretty heavily traveled road, so I think it would be of benefit to incorporate eyeing off into it.
I agree. Do we have a list of some of those other roads that could be, if we go with option number 2?
Yeah, so
that are in worse condition than some of the others that we have listed?
yeah, so if you look at the comparison between option 1 and 2, if you look at the estimated site cost compared to left and right, it pretty much tells you which ones would get full microsurfacing versus not.
It looks like Montfort Drive is a decrease from 58,000 to 32.
Because there's a section of Montfort that we would likely not recommend microsurfacing. It could get through with just crack seal. So again, the partial microsurface would be less cost. And the estimated costs are there, $521, and that includes eyeing off versus 402 or 403 essentially, which again includes eyeing off. However, if we bid that as an alternate, we don't necessarily need to award it if it becomes out of above a desirable budget.
And there's always a possibility of adding it a couple of years later if we're doing microsurfacing, say in 2028.
Yep. Yeah, I think the goal was to kind of alternate smaller microsurfacing projects versus larger paving projects to, again, let the liquid fuels funds reestablish and not have a constant drain on those year after year after year. again, I'm not asking for a determination or action taken tonight. I think if you desire, it could go to the Public Works Committee for discussion, but it's a decision that will need to be made. So going into the 2027 paving plan, I'm not, again, calling it a project that's years out. It would focus on the Edgemont community. And it would be, again, coinciding with an authority project, I believe, which is in the works. And I guess that's kind of what we're waiting on is, which streets in Edgemont would be affected by the stormwater work versus what streets would simply be paving projects. So I want to go to the next slide there. This is the preliminary list. Obviously, again, it needs to coincide with the roads that wouldn't be touched as part of the stormwater project, but these were the roads identified as targets for paving in 2027. And a $1.1 million, budgetary cost estimate for that. That's above what the township would typically spend. So obviously, as the stormwater project for the authority becomes more defined, we would obviously take that and then tweak the locations on this list to fall in line with the desired township budget. The typical liquid fuels replenishment is, I believe, $890,000 a year. And I know previously that has kind of been the township's desired annual paving budget. So with the additional funding that has been recouped, plus the the re-up of the $890,000 annually, I think it would fall in line with the previous budget spent on paving.
Alex, what you were saying then is that to the extent that some of the streets have work done because of what stormwater, that the stormwater monies would repave once the stormwater project was completed so that we wouldn't have to use the liquid fuel funds. Is that the way it works? Okay.
Yeah, and then the goal was to, those roads that still need improved but aren't part of the stormwater project would be involved.
In the pavement project?
Correct.
Yeah.
So the map kind of shows you there. It's a large chunk of Edgemont. And if you've driven through Edgemont, a lot of those roads are in need, so.
Will we have a breakdown later of the stormwater projects?
Yeah, as soon as, that gets buttoned down with GHD and the authority, absolutely. And like I said, this is a preliminary list. It can be adjusted to accommodate the budget and certainly we don't want to overlap the authority's efforts, so. And again, obviously, a discussion recommended to be had by the Public Works Committees. That's all I got. Certainly answer any questions.
That's good. Anybody have any questions for Alex? So Steve and Teresa, you'll get the committees together and
Yes, we're working on that schedule. Thank you.
And
Thank you, Alex.
just a quick one for you on the 6th Street project. One of the reasons why we kind of reduced it a little bit because of the ADA, we would have to add, if we went overboard on that 6th Street project,
Correct.
in the first ward, then we would have to add in ADA ramps and things like that. So that's kind of why we slowed down a little bit on that one.
Yep. And if you go to the 2026 with paving or microsurfacing project, with the exception of Ionoff, I don't believe there's any sidewalk in that entire neighborhood. So we wouldn't have to do, that wouldn't be involved in this project.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Wait, Alex, with Ionoff, there are sidewalks for most of it up until you get to Sea in the Woods and then there's no sidewalk.
Yeah, Ionoff has sidewalks.
But I would say INOF does up
Yeah,
until,
yes,
Okay.
yep. So there would be a number of ADA improvements on INOF, should it be.
is that partly why it's more than the other?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's decent amount of concrete work on the INOF project.
Good. You can go, Lloyd, done.
You can go this time.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Commissioner comments, do we have any?
No.
All right, hearing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second by Commissioner.
Wait, what happened?
I just wanted to make a quick announcement if I could. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
That's okay. I just want to announce that the administrative office's hours will be changing as of August 11th, and our new hours are 8 to 4:30 PM. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Comments or questions on this motion to adjourn? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.